𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗵𝗁 was on a path of harmony, preservation, and abundance. Well, plot twist, apparently the only thing they care about is the path of abundance part. Abundance of what, you may ask? Well, not goodwill, not good player satisfaction, no. It's about the money. They want money. And they're not even subtle about it. I mean, I should have known better. All of us should have known better. They hit us with all the right words. We will buff old characters. We're listening to player feedback. We care about the game's balance. We really do. And the whole time, they were just waiting to drop a fat stack of power creep right in front of our heads. Well, of course, they didn't exactly lie, did they? Sure, they said they'd buff old characters, but they never promised to stop releasing overpowered new ones. The classic bait and switch. You gotta admire the audacity, if nothing else. Enter Tribby, the latest shiny new character. This character isn't just power creep, they're a full-blown power avalanche. E1 stacking true damage, a 24% damage boost for every team archetype. Sure, why not? Outshining every harmony character in the game. Of course. It's almost like they sat down and said, guys, how do we make everything else feel completely useless? And the hypocrisy is just chef's kiss. We hear your concerns. Old DPS units can't keep up, they said. And then, as if power creep wasn't enough, they decided to sprinkle on an insane HP scaling for good measure. They've been telling us all along that older characters would stay relevant. Yeah, about that. Now we got the new memory of chaos rotation, and suddenly enemies have more HP than a shonen protagonist in their final battle. Seriously, MOC 10 now has more HP than MOC 12 did 4 months ago. So sure, use those old characters, they said. What they didn't mention is that you also need the power of friendship, a training montage. To clear it, you also have to go through a breakup. Remember that she cheated on you, and it's just sad. You look at the new MOC 12, and it's literally the final Ohio boss. It's wild because even the Chinese community, who usually have the patience of a saint when it comes to this stuff, they have loved every slap this company has given them for so long, is now mad. And if they're mad, oh, something's definitely wrong, no? When the CN community starts rioting, you know Hoyoverse is in a serious problem. Hey, yo, whatever Google Classroom is in China, you better keep yourself safe, bro. Godspeed. Now, I mean, it's wild, right? There's this growing sentiment that Honkai Star Rail is slowly becoming the new Genshin Impact. And honestly, it's hard to argue against it. The deja vu is literally real. What's hilarious is how some people are reacting to this. The Hoyo shills are out in full force, swatting down any and all criticism. They've got this whole everything is fine vibe like the dog in the burning room meme, completely missing the point that realism about the game's bad state isn't negativity, it's honesty. The thing is, real fans criticize because they care. They want the game to get better, not worse. And if you love something, sometimes you have to drag it through the mud a little bit. But the Hoyo shills, they're treating genuine concerns like how they treat a plot hole in an anime, just pretending they don't exist. And then we've got the HSR subreddit mods playing gatekeepers like they're the Ohio final boss of free speech. Legitimate criticism is getting deleted. Community voices are getting silenced. They're really dealing with criticism the same way Asian parents hear out their children. You talk back and you tell them what you want and how you want to be treated, you get whooped. Bro, even the developers themselves acknowledge the power creep. But the mods? Hell nah, brother. The mods are going full Genshin mode. You know that everything is perfect, nothing is wrong, and if you say otherwise, you're the problem kind of energy? It's honestly hilarious in a tragic way. Like watching a romance anime where the couple's love language is just gaslighting each other. It's like Rent a Girlfriend, but worse. If this is the future of HSR, then they are speedrunning their way to becoming Genshin 2.0. And it's not the sequel anybody asked for. But do you think that was all? We're actually still not even close to finishing yet because we have an even bigger problem than ever before. One that will literally change how you play the game, how you ration your premium currency, and how you will be breaking your account if you skip any of the upcoming units. Everyone, and I mean everyone, was losing it over Honkai Star Rail's new mechanic, global passives. Me when I'm in a predatory gacha game competition and my opponent is Hoyoverse, oh my god. Well, to be fair, this is not set yet. This is beta information, which is probably good because they can still change it. Hopefully, God change it, right? But anyways, let me explain first. So what are global passives? Imagine account-wide buffs that aren't earned through gameplay or skill. All you gotta do is pull the character. An account-wide buff that is locked behind gacha polls. This is literally not just power creep anymore. It's becoming pay to win. It's like if you could buy Ultra Instinct in Dragon Ball Z and Goku had to swipe his credit card instead of training. With this global passive system, skipping a banner isn't just FOMO situation anymore. It's a brick sentence for your account. If you're not pulling on every banner, you're not just missing out, you're actively breaking your account for the long term. And the worst part is that it's a slow burn. You might not feel the consequences immediately, but give it a few months, give it a few patches, and suddenly every encounter feels like you're trying to explain the definition of the word meta to box 2.
And it's gonna be bro, look at these teams, man. I'm just gonna run through all of them, unless I'm just bad at the game, which it could happen. No, I don't have Robin's buffs, man. I'm trolling, dude.
This is how they get you. They make the game unplayable unless you've been been consistently pulling, and before you know it, you're too deep in to back out. I mean, for now, it's just a revive, right? And you might think that's not really game breaking, but what if down the line, they introduce a global stat buff or something like a global crit damage buff? Like your whole account is automatically weaker compared to those players who have pulled. That is just so incredibly shameless. And imagine that they balance the enemies according to these global passives in mind. If you don't have these global passive characters, you're cooked, buddy. And I can't wait for the people that pulled for these characters. Look all elitist to these other players that got over, being like, oh, I have no problems. It's just a skill issue. Power creep is only a problem if you allow it, either by greed or stupidity. Put the fries in the bag, bro. And this is classic Hoyoverse strategy. They create a problem and sell the solution, and then act totally shocked when everyone's pissed. They're like, what? You don't like the HP inflation in the endgame? We thought you wanted a difficult endgame. Hey, yo, somebody give 𝗿𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗁 an Oscar. It's a genius move. Evil, but genius. And the fact that Hoyoverse is acting like this is all for our benefit is almost comical. And here's the thing. When the community stands up and speaks out, it makes a difference. We have seen it before with Hoyoverse, with Honkai Star Rail, and with Genshin Impact. Player outrage and mass uninstalls have literally pushed them to make changes. They didn't do it out of kindness, but because their bottom line was at risk. And let's be real, Hoyoverse only put out that initial dev note because of the backlash. It wasn't just people complaining online, it was players actively showing their dissatisfaction by not spending money and even quitting the game. Most importantly, that's the kind of message companies can't ignore. When the player count drops and the cash flow slows, they are forced to crawl back to us like a miserable ex-girlfriend realizing they messed up. And I'm not saying we need to go back to the wild days of spamming 1-star Google Classroom reviews or anything crazy like that, right? But if you really want to make a statement, the most effective way is to close your wallet. Better yet, take a break, play a different game, and let them feel that sting. History shows us that when a community raises its voice through actions, not just words, it forces companies to reconsider. This situation with the global passives is proof that if we stay vocal, consistent, and strategic in how we protest, we can actually influence change. So let's keep speaking up. But let's also remember that our spending habits and our playtime are the loudest voices we have. And at the end of the day, Honkai Star Rail isn't just hitting a rough patch, it is full on doing the leap of faith into the same mistakes as Genshin Impact. And you'd think they learn, but apparently, the only thing Hoyoverse wants to repeat is its profit margins. The takeaway here is clear. Never let these companies gaslight you into silence. If they try to tell you a game is fine when it clearly isn't, call them out. If they censor the subreddit, take it to Twitter, take it to YouTube, wherever your voice can be heard. We have to keep the pressure on because, as we have seen, the only thing that these companies respond to is a community that won't shut up. Because let's face it, if we don't, they're just going to keep testing how much they can get away with. And I'm not here for Honkai Star Rail turning into Genshin 2.0. If I wanted to play a game where my feedback didn't matter and the devs pretended everything was perfect, I'd go back to playing, you would know what kind of game I play. But anyways, stay vocal, stay skeptical, and most importantly,